Welcome, fellow crypto addicts, to the, well, let's call it the 12th project analysis. Most of you might know that the second batch of Polkadot Parachain Slot Auctions has started or will start later today. The contributions have already started, and I also want to cover the second batch of auctions with my analysis, but this time I have decided to take a different approach. So due to time constraints on my side, I will not be able to do research on every project, but this time I will every week I will review the two competing projects, the two leading projects for the week, and give you my insights on which one is the better opportunity for you. But before I get into that, let me quickly point out to you that this video is not financial advice and that you should always do your own research before investing into anything. And now, without further ado, let's look at the fight for slot 6. So on December 23rd, the 6th Parachain Slot auction will start, and we see now it's very likely that Composable Finance and Efinity are competing for slot number 6. So that's why I picked those two projects for the first analysis here. And if we can just switch to the model, here they are. On the left side we got Efinity, on the right side we got Composable Finance. Composable Finance has already secured a Kusama Parachain slot with its sister project Picasso. Efinity, on the other hand, has not competed in the Kusama Parachain auctions. So coming to the fundamentals of the two projects, well, again, I have already made a video about Efinity, so if you want to see the detailed analysis to Efinity, check out the video. I will link in the corner right now. There I will go into way more detail. Yeah, Efinity is about the metaverse NFT infrastructure. Well, they're developing a new token standard, the Paratoken standard, and they want to solve scalability and interoperability of NFTs with less gas fees than what they currently have. And then on the other side, we have Composable Finance, who is working on DeFi infrastructure. So they're trying to run smart contracts together for them to be able to communicate and collaborate. And also they want to facilitate cross-chain asset swaps. So that are both very solid value proposals. And yeah, in my opinion, Efinity here is taking the lead a little bit, as they got way more utility under their umbrella than for Composable Finance. So yeah, DeFi is all nice and well, but the metaverse and NFT infrastructure, I think that is a sector where there is still a lot of growth in the future. But then again, there's also still a lot of growth left for DeFi and DeFi infrastructure, so both are carrying a strong value proposal. In my opinion, Efinity is a bit stronger on that one. Then again, for the Web3 Foundation grants, both projects have not received a grant, and the big investors, so for Efinity, have secured 23 investors, and Composable has secured 19, which are both very, very good numbers, so to say. So they have both projects have a lot of investors backing them, which again might tell us that that their projects are delivering value. All right, now coming to the Phenomics, we're looking at for Efinity, we're looking at the EFI token, and for Composable, we're looking at the LAYR token. Well, the maximum supply is quite a bit different, so there are way more Efinity tokens in circulation. There will be way more Efinity tokens than the LAYR tokens, but then again, this is just a numbers game, so this number as a single measure does not tell us anything, and that's why we're coming to the allocations. They're pretty good comparables. So for the parachain rewards, Efinity is giving out 10%, whereas Composable Finance is giving out 15%, so 5% more. It's rather positive. Then again, we see the team of Efinity has reserved 10% of tokens for themselves, and Composable Finance secured 25% of their own supply for the team. It's quite a high number, to be honest. It's very rare that you see that high numbers, and this is mostly it rings a bit alarm bells are ringing, and if you see that the project has allocated themselves a high amount, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So if the project is reputable and can be trusted, then a high allocation of tokens to the team is fine, as long as they're really using the tokens to fund the team, to pay employees, to build the company and the project behind that, and not just to cash out gains. And I don't think that Composable Finance is one of these projects that are looking for a quick buck for the developer. So again, the team has a high allocation, but for Composable Finance for this project, this is fine, so to say. Then again, for both projects, the investors have secured about 20% of the supply, and Efinity is giving 40% of its supply for liquidity programs, where Composable Finance is giving out 20%. Here again, it's usually more favorable to see a higher ratio of tokens given out in the liquidity programs, because this is what keeps interest in the project, so to say. Then again, both have 20% reserved for reserve and development, and this is a fine ratio. So all in all, if we compare the allocations, it's pretty easy to see that again here Efinity is has a more favorable allocation for us investors, even though Composable Finance is giving out more for parachain rewards. But all in all, my opinion, there's a slight lead for Efinity here in terms of allocations. Alright, now coming to the rewards that you will get, or that you can expect. So the minimum allocation per dot for Efinity would be 4 EFI tokens, and for Composable Finance this would be around half of a LAYR token, 0.48 in the worst case scenario. Again, this is you will probably get more than that if you contribute to this project, and for Efinity I am expecting an allocation of around 22 EFI tokens per dot contributed, and for Composable Finance I am expecting an allocation of 2 LAYR tokens. So how do I get to this number? There again, we switch to the expected reward distribution sheet, and yeah, I cleaned it up a little bit, made it a little bit easier to understand compared to last analysis. So we quickly take a look at it. Here we have Efinity and Composable. The hard cap for Efinity is 50 million dot, the hard cap for Composable is 25 million dot, and so moving on, I expect them to raise around 7.5 to 8 million dots to be able to win slot number 6. So, well, actually, let's compare both of them with the 8 million dots that I think is necessary to win that slot, and then we see that you can expect rewards of around 25 Efinity tokens and around 1.88 LAYR tokens. If 8 million dots are contributed, and I divide that by the reward distribution that the projects are giving out. Okay, switching back here. Again, we can see that you will get a little bit less than 2 LAYR tokens and around 22 Efinity tokens if you contribute 1 dot to their crowd loan. For the vesting schedule, Efinity is 100% linear, and Composable Finance is 25% immediately. Yeah, you can sell whatever you want to do with it. The rest is distributed linear. So for this aspect, Composable Finance is leading because you can unlock more tokens at the beginning. But then again, it is to note that if a lot of people can unlock a lot of tokens quite early in the beginning, this might lead to a lot of negative pressure on the token price, as those guys wanna cash in their rewards, change them to some other currency to do anything else with it. So keep that in mind. So then again, it's hard to say which one is better depending on your investment style. For the special incentives you get, so if you contribute to Efinity and you have already contributed via Parallel Finance in the first Parachain Slot Auctions, you will get a 5% recontributor bonus, and again you will enter the NFT draw of Efinity, where I think 1,000 NFTs are distributed among all the contributors to their crowd loan. And for Composable, you get a 20% referral bonus. If you contribute via Parallel Finance, you can do that. I will have a link to that in the description below. But then again, about this, the 20% referral bonus is not safe, so I think there must be at least 1,000 DOT contributed via the referral link, and then you will get the 20% referral bonus, but don't quote me on that. That's why I have an asterisk there, so please do again your own research about the referral bonus. It could be different, but as far as I understood it, if you contribute via Parallel Finance and they're raising more than 1,000 DOT, then all of the contributors will get a 20% referral bonus. So this might be rather interesting for some of you guys. And again, you get 5% extra reward if you have previously contributed to Picasso. So if you are if you're getting these bonuses, you might actually be able to get a little bit more than 2 of the LAYR tokens. Then again, both projects have no failure compensation, but they probably won't need that because they're very likely to both win a slot. If not in the 6th auction, then maybe in the next one for the projects. Alright, then looking at the expected market cap, so Efinity, I'm assuming a higher market cap than for Composable, as this brings more utility and also their token brings more utility. And the sister projects, I don't have a market cap yet, so cannot compare them. And then we are looking at the expected circulating supply at the token generation event, or maybe half a year after that. And for Efinity, I expect this to be around 11 to let's say 15%, and for Composable Finance, they're in the range of 20 to 25% of circulating supply at TG. Again, if we look at the reward ratio in relationship to the circulating supply, minimal expected, and to the total supply with minimum rewards and expected rewards, we can see that actually Composable Finance, you will get a better ratio of tokens, even though you get a better ratio for Efinity in regards to the circulating supply with the expected reward ratio. So there you would better off with Efinity, but all in all the ratios here favor Composable Finance a little bit, but then again, it's not only about the ratios, it's also about the market cap. And then if we put all of that together, I have a price expectation, and I actually changed the price expectation for Efinity a little bit in contrast to the last analysis I did on Efinity. And this is the price range I'm expecting for one EFI token, so between $1.50 and $2.80. I think everything is possible within 1 year after the token generation event. And for Composable Finance, I am expecting something between $6.80 to $13. If we're looking again at the market cap with the lowest price expectation and the highest price expectations, we see we can expect Efinity to have a market cap of around $300 million dollars, and Composable Finance is a little bit lower with around $158 million. And again, this is with the lowest price expectation, and if everything goes very favorable for those projects, I assume that Efinity can reach a market cap of more than half a billion dollars, and Composable should be around the $300 million mark. But that's just my personal opinion. You guys might have different views on that. If you have, please feel free to share them in the comment section below. I'm always happy to find out what you guys are thinking about that. Alright, then lastly let's look at the social sentiment. So the Efinity has actually a whole lot of Twitter followers and a whole lot of Telegram users, so the community behind Efinity is rather big, in contrast to Composable Finance, where the community is rather small, which makes sense because what they're doing is really specialized. They really specialize themselves in a topic in DeFi, where the community just isn't that big, and it's pretty technical what they're doing. So obviously they will have a smaller community than Efinity, who are in the metaverse and NFT area. But then again, community is very important for such projects. That's why I rated Efinity here with 7.5. and Composable Finance with a 4 out of 10 rating units, so to say. So then again, what can you expect when entering their crowd loans for the two tokens? And here again, if we're looking at the reward distribution, so you can get, in the worst case, you get $6 per dot contributed. In the best case for Efinity, you get $62 per dot. For Composable Finance, we're here at $3 and $26. So in my analysis, I come to the conclusion that Composable, and you can also see it here, that Composable is half as strong as Efinity, so to say. So I personally, with those two competing, I would rather put my dots up for Efinity, as even if I have some errors here in my calculation and the market cap will be considerably lower than for Composable, you will still get a better reward ratio. So we can I can show you, for example, if we expect for Efinity to have the same market cap as Composable, you will see I have to add that one, but let's say it's just going between 80 and let's just make it $2. So again, the rewards are still slightly better than those for Composable Finance. And then again, with Efinity being the stronger project with a greater value proposal and all the other aspects I looked at checking out, I would go for Efinity in this one. Alright, so that was it for the fight between Efinity and Composable Finance. Feel free to drop your opinion in the comment section below. If you have any questions, just ask, and Then there's nothing left for me to say, except if you want to contribute to this project, you can use the referral link in the description below, so you can support me a little bit. And we'll be happy if you share this video, leave a like and a comment, and then again, we'll see you guys next time.